Hello everyone, Houndawg here, with you again in another historical aircraft from the past 100 years of U.S. Navy carrier aviation. Today is 24 July 1968, and we are in one of the most controversial U.S. military aircraft ever produced, the General Dynamics F-111B.
Radio check, 123, 321, radio check. In the late 1950s, the rapidly escalating Cold War had created a critical need for a new fleet air defense fighter to defend the U.S. Navy aircraft battle groups against long-range anti-ship missiles launched from Soviet high-speed jet bombers and submarines. The new aircraft needed a more powerful radar and longer-range missiles with greater loiter times than the McDonnell F-4H Phantom II just entering service. In December 1958, the Navy awarded contracts to the Bendix Corporation to develop the long-range Eagle missile and to Westinghouse for a long-range radar. In July 1960, the Douglas Aircraft Company received a Navy contract to design the new F-6D Missileer subsonic aircraft fitted with a new radar and 8 of the 16-foot Eagle missiles. At the same time, Pratt & Whitney was selected to provide their new TF-30 turbofan jet engines with improved performance and efficiency for increased loitering times of up to 6 hours. However, less than 6 months later in December 1960, strong internal Navy opposition to the slow and defenseless standoff fighter concept, combined with budget cuts mandated by the Kennedy administration, resulted in both the F-6D Missileer and Eagle missile programs being canceled. This left the Navy still in need of the Fleet Air Defense aircraft. At the same time, the U.S. Air Force Tactical Air Command was looking for a replacement for the F-105 Thunder Chief fighter bomber as a long-range interdiction strike aircraft able to penetrate Soviet air defenses at low altitudes and supersonic speeds to deliver tactical nuclear weapons against Soviet air bases. The Air Force and Navy requirements were clearly different. However, in June 1961, the Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara formally directed the two services to develop a single aircraft that would satisfy both requirements under the Tactical Fighter Experimental TFX program. In November 1962, Secretary McNamara, for the fourth and final time, overruled the Air Force and Navy selection of Boeing and directed the contract go to General Dynamics instead. This unprecedented decision created a flood of accusations and a follow-on congressional investigation. However, McNamara's directive to award the contract to General Dynamics was not overturned. General Dynamics recognized their lack of experience with carrier-based aircraft and subcontracted Grumman for the complete assembly and testing of the Navy's F-111B. In addition, Grumman would also build the Air Force F-111A's aft fuselage and landing gear. Both the F-111A and F-111B used the same semi-monocoque fuselage of aluminum alloy, steel, and titanium with honeycomb sandwich skin panels and an internal weapons bay. The Navy insisted on side-by-side crew seating and a heavy self-contained escape capsule. Variable geometry wings swept from 16 to 72.5 degrees, and the B model had a 7-foot wider wingspan of 70 feet for longer loiter times and lower carrier approach speeds. The wings had full-span leading-edge flaps and full-span trailing-edge double-slotted flaps, both in 4 sections. There were no ailerons, so roll control was performed by dual spoilers on top of each wing that could also simultaneously deploy to dump lift on landing. The F-111B's nose was 8.5 feet shorter and folded up to fit on the existing carrier elevators. The Navy F-111B carried 6 Hughes AIM-54 Phoenix long-range missiles developed from the original Eagle missile program, and was also fitted with a Hughes long-range radar capable of tracking 24 separate targets at a distance of over 100 miles. The F-111 was powered by two 18,500 pounds afterburning thrust Pratt & Whitney TF-30 turbofan engines, originally developed for a proposed Douglas airliner. The F-111B had a maximum takeoff weight of 88,000 pounds and a maximum speed of Mach 2.2 with a service ceiling of 65,000 feet. The first F-111B prototype flew on 18 May 1965, fitted with ejection seats instead of the escape module, but it was still significantly heavier than the Navy-specified 55,000 pounds. Two separate weight improvement programs were offset by the final addition of the heavy escape capsule and the shortage of lightweight titanium available only from Russia. The additional weight made the aircraft underpowered, and modifications were made to the wing and control surfaces to improve lift. A higher thrust version of the TF-30 engine was planned, but chronic problems with compressor stalls and engine flameouts would persist even with the F-111B's replacement, the Grumman F-14 Tomcat. In 1966, while still opposing the F-111B, the Navy awarded Grumman a contract to investigate advanced fighter designs. In July 1967, the F-111B successfully fired the first Phoenix missile, but less than a year later, in May 1968, Congress completed their extensive hearings on the Navy F-111B and canceled all funding. On 23 and 24 July, the F-111B successfully completed carrier trials aboard the USS Coral Sea CV-43. In the same month, the Navy canceled the F-111B program and issued a request for proposals for the new Naval Fighter Experimental VFX program. The new tandem two-seat fighter would borrow heavily from the F-111B, including the TF-30 afterburning engines, 20mm cannon, 6 Phoenix missiles, and long-range radar. Bids were received from General Dynamics, Grumman, Ling-Tim Cobalt, McDonnell Douglas, and North American Rockwell, with 4 bids including Grumman's incorporating variable geometry wings. It was no surprise that in January 1969, the Navy awarded Grumman the contract to develop the new F-14 Tomcat. Meanwhile, the 7th and final pre-production F-111B was delivered to the Navy on 28 February 1969, but tests continued at Point Mugu and China Lake even after the F-111B program had been terminated. 3 F-111Bs would be lost in accidents with 4 aircrew killed before finally being retired in December 1971. While the F-111B did not reach the fleet, 9 different land-based F-111 models were in service with the U.S. Air Force for over 30 years before being retired in 1998. The F-111B was never intended to be an aerial dogfighter, but we should review the facts about the so-called Sea-Pig. With the nose folded up and wings swept, the F-111B shared virtually the same plan view dimensions as the F-14. With identical fuel and weapons loads, the F-14 weighed 3,866 pounds less, but it did so without the F-111B's heavy crew escape capsule, internal bomb bay, and pivoting wing pylon stations. The F-111B's airframe could withstand higher G-loads and carried 3,000 pounds more fuel for 25 minutes longer loiter time. The F-111B could land with all 6 Phoenix missiles and 3 times the reserve fuel, while the F-14 could land with only 5 of the 6 expensive Phoenix missiles. The F-111B required less wind over the deck for both landings and takeoffs and had a better single-engine control. All things considered, not bad for a modified Air Force bomber.